Move to item 9, informational items. Number 1, legal update. Council.
President Mackay, you stole my thunder on the model ordinance, so I have nothing to report.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
All right, item 2, interim general manager update on district projects.
Yes, President Mackay and directors. About a week ago, we made a milestone in getting our recycled water on board and delivering it. We got the discharge waste requirement permit from the state water boards, which now gets us set up to go to Lahotman, which we have an appointment in. We don't have the exact date yet. It's either going to be the 4th or the 5th of November, and it looks very positive that on that day, when we get the permit, we can start delivering recycled water. So it will be a good day. And that's all the report.
Okay. Go to item 3, assistant general manager and public works superintendent.
Yes, John Houghton is not here today, Mr. President, and so you have the staff report in front of you. If you have any questions, we can fill it in.
Any questions for item 10? Let's go to item 10, discussion and action items. Item A, consideration and action to allow directors to travel to CSDA, ACWA, AWWA, and other district-related meetings. Mr. Smith.
Yes, Mr. McKay. This was brought up because the insurance company wants to make sure that you give sort of a blanket direction for all board members to attend conferences and meetings so that you're covered in the insurance policy. So staff is requesting that you make and approve and authorize the directors to travel to CSDA, ACWA, AWWA, and other district-related meetings.
Chair will entertain a motion to allow the directors to travel to these different agencies.
So moved.
As listed on the agenda.
As stated on the agenda, yes.
Thank you.
That's second. Mr. Wall, second. Any public discussion? Take the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0. Item B, consideration and action regarding direction and/or authorizations of general manager to negotiate and take all steps necessary to convey the water infrastructural located at 1801 20th Street West to TPA LLC. Mr. Smith.
Yes, Mr. President and Board. The system is on private property, and it has 28 years. The infrastructure, we put in some new meters and some new connections, but the total worth of the infrastructure that's actually there from going on the property is only about $17,000. Staff estimates that the work that needs to be done to run the main around the property and put 2 master meters on one side would be approximately $30,000. The cost right now that we're paying is close to $60,000 to $70,000 a year in repairs, and as the system gets older, it's going to cost us more. The mobile home parks have indicated to the past general manager that they would be interested in taking it over, mostly because they would control meters at the residences, because they do like a 3-day show and sell kind of connection. They can control that completely, and the base rate fees that we would collect from the 148 connections and the loss of that revenue, then the added revenue that we get from the master meters, plus the expense that it costs us to build and the infrastructure that we would have, would be frayed in about 18 months. And then from then on, we would be saving that money in the future. And it could do a lot of staff needs to be going up to $100,000 a year replacing everything that we need. So staff is recommending that we authorize the general manager to negotiate with the owners to take all steps necessary to convey the water infrastructure located at 1801 20th Street West to the TPA LLC.
Entertain a motion on the staff's recommendation as stated in the agenda.
So moved, as stated in the agenda.
Do we have a second? I'll Any public discussion?
I'm Greg Williams. I'm one voice from the community. A couple of questions, and I'm not here to poke holes, I'm just asking questions because I do have some concerns. Implementing a master meter system, it would be up to the property owners to determine the fair rate for the people living in the park. Is that, I don't know, I'm asking.
If you want us to answer the questions, Ms. Burns would answer that, but
Okay.
I don't believe they have the ability to change the rates.
What I don't, let me clarify my question. What I don't understand is with a master meter, obviously it would be like what you have with Albertsons, to where they pay one bill for the entire subdivision or park, right? Or how does that work?
The master meter would be for the entirety of the park, and then it would be incumbent upon the owner of the park to then take the necessary steps under the mobile home law, or under the park law, to lawfully turn around and do whatever they want to do.
Based on the actual usage for those people?
Correct.
Okay. So the question that I have, and I don't hear it being discussed in this one I'm asking, is there a discussion as far as the sewer? Because if they're no longer getting a water bill from RCSD, which has the sewer bill component on it, based on the numbers that you gave and based on public data that I was able to pull from Kern County, you're looking at about $70,207 a year in annual sewer fees that if it's not accounted for, we would miss that. The other part, if the pricing structure per unit or per resident, we would also lose the $20 per customer living there that we currently pay as regular citizens, which would total about $35,000, which means your net sum potential loss for revenue if we don't do this right. I'm not against it. I'm just saying we need to address all the issues, especially since we're negotiating. We could lose up to $100,000 a year.
Well, at this time, we're not considering the sewer system. Just keeping it like this. It's only the infrastructure and staff part of
So they would still continue to pay the sewer rate.
Others would continue to receive a sewer bill, is that correct?
I just want to clarify that. I'm just saying if it's not being done, we need to make sure that we
Yeah,
address
no,
it.
they continue. And you mentioned the $20. Are you talking about the base rate?
That's base rate for the water.
Yeah, no, that was already incorporated into the report of what we would lose and
Okay.
what monthly we would gain.
And the last two questions, and I'm going to highlight this because I did discover something. The company that you're going to be negotiating with, TPA LLC, according to the Secretary of State website, they lost their license to operate in the state of California as a business about 5 years ago. So you may want to investigate that before you enter into an agreement with them. And that is on the Secretary of State website. And the one thing that I do notice is the property directly adjacent to Tradewinds is Stonehenge. And I know that Stonehenge is owned by RCSD. And I can't help but notice about 2 weeks ago, Director Landsgaard, you mentioned Stonehenge when you were talking to John Houghton about the possibility of, trying to increase the amount of people coming in to look at revenue coming into Rosamond. I'm just curious if that's connected or if I'm just drawing a weak one here.
I don't.
You don't recall that?
All I know is there's 3 mobile home parks over there, and I think
Okay.
there's Tradewinds, Stonehenge, and
They're adjacent to each other?
there's
Stonehenge belongs to ours. We bought it in 2003.
We own Home Park?
We own Stonehenge, yes.
That's news to me, I didn't know that.
That's according to the Kern County website. So that's all I have.
This is Roger Hensley. I just want to clarify some of the calculations that are being put out for this, that we can save this money and recoup it in 18 months. I haven't heard anything about a lot of this fee that's going out has to be in labor. And to actually save anything, you got to lay somebody off. So I'm wondering, did you have any kind of something that you're going to lay somebody off to save that money actually? Because the money doesn't go away. It's still being paid to the staff, whether their line item goes to this trailer park or whether it goes someplace else. You haven't lowered your labor cost. So I'm wondering if there's been anything, or are we laying somebody off this, on 5,000 a month average? If you said the parts were $1,000 to do that, and 4,000 was labor, that's somebody's wages. That's one person that can go.
Right, correct. Our engineer calculated, and I believe it's more of the infrastructure and the stuff with replacing meters, or replacing that. I don't know if labor was actually calculated within that. We're talking more about swapping out infrastructure.
Well, right, but you're giving out that you can save $5,000. We're not gonna save $5,000 a month because we're not laying anybody off.
Well, no,
We're still gonna pay them.
just that's the $17,000 alone with some of the new meters that we put in. So it's the new, because when things fail, we have to replace them. So that's what we're talking about, is we're gonna have to end up replacing the meters, replacing the pipes, and so it's I believe it's all the materials, but you can call me and we'll ask the
Okay.
engineer
All right,
exactly how he did the
That's
calculation.
what I was saying, some of that's gotta be labor, and we're not laying anybody off, so we're not really saving money, we're just moving it to a different line item. So it needs to be figured out there. And I don't know who put that system in or what, but I know that I have houses here that are older than that don't have to be changing out the meters and always have to be worked on.
Right,
I
this
don't
just
know.
seems to be a troublesome spot, so that's why
Right.
staff, and these negotiations were going on before I came on also, so.
Same
it's
thing in-
been an ongoing,
Like what he brought up, the $20 per space is for infrastructure that we should be collecting it like anybody else moves in. We need to pay for the whole infrastructure system, everybody, not just get lowered down to that fee because the meter's bigger. There's no infrastructure fee to it really.
Well, Mr. John Houghton has reported to us in the past, in the last month or so, about the problems with that mobile home park, number one. And number two, that it has, for its age, it has an enormous number of leaks and problems. We're going to save money on not having the water leakage problems that we have. We're going to save money on not having to replace infrastructure that was probably cheaply put in at the time in 1986 that we had no control over. And all in all, he made a pretty good case for the fact that we can.
All
swap it
I'm
out.
saying is we're gonna spend $30,000 and we're not saving any labor because we aren't laying anybody off to get rid of that labor.
I suppose we're not going to hire anybody to either. So,
That's right.
so
But I say we're not gonna save it, we're using that in this, this calculation to, say we're gonna repay ourselves in 18 months. I've been in business too long, and it doesn't happen like that unless you get rid of the labor also. We'll get rid of having to pay for pipe and stuff to go over there and fix. But, you know, it's just like these fires burning. Oh, it cost us this much money. Only the overtime is what it cost us. Because we're gonna pay those firemen to be sitting in a firehouse somewhere. We don't lay them off. So it didn't really cost us nothing unless we're putting out overtime to do that.
I have a confidence, Mr. Hoffman, keep on working on something else.
Well, no, I'm just saying, the money just gets put to a different line item. We're not saving it, it's just off that line item to another line item. Our labor cost still stays this much for the year. It doesn't change.
Anyone else? Yes.
You're 100% right, Roger. And I drove through the park, and it's a very nice park. Lots of lawns with nice landscaping around the trailers, swimming pool, the kids are swimming in the swimming pool. But it's got infrastructure problems. And the question is, do we replace them, or do we sell it to, transfer it to the owner and let them? That's kind of where we're coming from. But you're right, it's probably not going to say what we think it's going to say.
Well, and the other thing, maybe we let them pay the $30,000 for the meter that would originally had to been put in. If, say, I went and built a mobile home park, I'd have to pay for that meter to be hooked up. He's gonna start selling water like a retailer with that meter, and we're giving it to him at one price, and he's gonna sell it at another price.
Well,
And-
just for Mr. Glennan, just for information, this is the only mobile home park where we own the infrastructure. So every other mobile home park in the district is owned by the mobile home park, so it's the same system that they have a master meter, and then they deliver it with other
Yeah,
meters too.
in the beginning, each one of those mobile home parks paid, they didn't get something given to them,
Well, yeah.
okay?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, that we would be treating them like they're doing all the other part. But it is key that we don't lose the sewer fee for 148 units at $40 a month.
Right.
That's really key.
We're not losing that, right?
No, and just to be clear, the only thing we're giving them is about $17,000 worth of infrastructure. We put in some new meters, so that's basically the cost. If it wasn't for the new meters, then the depreciated
And the
cost.
$30,000.
Yeah, the depreciated, well, we're not giving that to them. That's the work that we're gonna have to do to put in the new master meters on the outside.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Who addressed me? I couldn't see.
I do.
My name is Patsy Ruth Scott. I live in the Desert Oasis Mobile Home Estate Park. We have 379 units there. We're probably about 75% with residents there. We pay $39.80 a month each resident trailer in sewer fees every month. We don't have a flat rate with the water. It's a master water meter there. When the water is not potable, we are not noticed of that. I have invited Erin Brockovich down to our town, and she's going to try and be here in about a month, and I'll update everybody then. Because when you guys send out a letter to your customer, which is these parks, they don't notice any of us that are there drinking the water. So who takes care of that? Who arbitrates that? Who's incumbent since we are not? And we can't have notice because we are not the legal customer. The park is on a master meter, but there's no one there to send notice. When the wells go bad or any Chrome 6 or anything like that's involved, and it's not potable for them to drink, we're not being noticed.
Is that noticed?
Well, I'll look into that.
Sewer customers get it as well.
I'm not sure that I
Oh,
can't.
my question is, the notices are put on the website, is that correct?
Yes, the notice is on the website.
We're not the customer.
But you can go to the website and read what's on the...
It's not incumbent on me to do that. It is incumbent on the people when they get notice to notice us when they are on the master meter.
I think she's right about that. The council's
You
right.
bet I'm right. I've been
Council's
checking
speaking
it
to that.
for 3 years.
Yeah, so we'll look into it, and you can call me.
Well, there's a lot of people and a lot of deaths in our park. There's a lot of brain cancer and there's a lot of stomach cancer.
So if you call me, then we'll talk to the council and everything, we'll find
I
out.
have
the
a big
notification.
stack of papers I can show you.
Absolutely, that's good, just give me a call, and I'll talk to council, and we'll find out, and if it's not, if there's some law that makes it mandated that the mobile home park's not doing it, or for us to do it, then we'll take care of that.
And by the way, I'm a single woman and I sometimes get billed $47 a month in water bills, and I have no lawn and no shrubbery.
The mobile home parks aren't ran through the county, they're ran, I think, at a
They're
state
ran for
level,
HCD,
down in Riverside or
but
something.
we're talking about the water, when they're the customers.
Right.
And this unit is billing
But
parks.
you gotta go to that
Who
other,
takes the legal obligation to notice us when
Right.
we don't have potable water?
they might be supposed to tell you that when they get the notice, but that
Yes,
person-
but they don't, and
I
they never
know.
have, and I've been there for 8 years.
Call the meeting to order, please. Moves us to item 11, consent agenda. We're going to be looking at items A through G. Approve August 12th, 2015 special board meeting minutes. Approve August 12th, 2015 regular board meeting minutes. Approve August 18th, 2015 special board meeting minutes. Approve August 22nd, or excuse me, August 26th, 2015 special board meeting minutes. approve August 26, 2015 regular board meeting minutes, approve Director Glennan's mileage reimbursement request dated August the 14th, 2015 in the amount of $192.63. And item G, approve check and voucher register dated August the 25th, 2015 through September the 7th, 2015. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Any public discussion? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. 5-0. Okay. Item 12, outstanding items. Any written communications? Item 2, request for future agenda items. I would like to put a request in that we get the resolution that all contracts come before the board.
The one previously presented,
Pardon me?
the resolution previously presented.
Any others? We'll move to item 13, adjournment. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.